Story time of how my stepmom got so jealous of me and my dad's bond that she plotted to kill me. So I never really liked my stepmom in the first place because she was a little controlling over my dad, and I just knew that she hated me and I really hated her too. But you know, my dad was in love and he seemed happy, so I didn't really say anything. And my dad would always take me to lunch on Saturdays and Sundays, and we'd have like a dad-daughter bonding day, I guess. And me and my dad were just super close. And every single weekend, me going to lunch with him would start an argument between them two because she said I was taking time away from them two. My dad really never chose sides, but I never really got involved in the relationship as much as I hated her because I just loved seeing my dad happy. Also, at this time, I was 15. And what I'm about to say next might sound just a little crazy and unbelievable, but I'm not sure who she was on the phone with. But while on the phone with somebody, she was talking about getting rid of me. Mind you, my mom had passed away when I was younger, and I really had no other family to go to. Now, this is where the story takes a turn for the worse and she tries to get rid of me. I'm running out of time for the crazy part 2. Part 2 of how my stepmom got so jealous of me and my dad's bond that she plotted to kill me. Continuing on with the story, I don't know who she was on the phone with, but I overheard her on the phone saying that she was going to get rid of me. And honestly, I didn't really care and I didn't really think anything of it because I knew she was crazy, but I didn't think she was that crazy. So all of a sudden, she started making me breakfast. And I'm not a breakfast person. I can't eat right when I get up. So every time she would make me breakfast, I'd be like, thanks, but I'm not hungry. And she would get so mad. Like, so freaking mad. I'm not going to get into all the little details, but comes to find out, she was putting rat poison in my food. She had set up cameras in my room. And I don't know what kind of sense this makes. I think she's just crazy, but she started to hide snakes in my room and claim it was my fault that the snakes were coming in my room. Yeah, doesn't really make any sense. Once I told my dad and my dad got out of his little in love stage with her, he finally stepped up and said something to her. And she admitted that she wanted me dead. He eventually called the cops, and to this day, she is in jail for attempted murder. Oh, did I forget to mention the day that he broke up with her, she tried to stab me in the throat.
So yesterday I was really bored, so I just decided that I would drive around my neighborhood. So I got in my car, I was warming it up, whatever, and I see my neighbor staring at me through their window. So I'm like, is this dude really about to say something? So I just ignore him. I'm like, do whatever you want to do, I don't care. And I pull out of my driveway and I drive off. 2 seconds later, I see my neighbor's car following me. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe they're just leaving the neighborhood. Maybe they're going to the store or something. Maybe they're not even following me. So I take a left, they take a left. I take another left, they take another left. To the point where I make a whole circle and they keep following me. So I did 2 more circles around the neighborhood, still were following me. Up until I pulled into my driveway and they sped off. I love having nosy neighbors.
Story time! So yesterday my friends and I all went to the fair and there were 6 of us in total. And none of us wanted to have to worry about driving there and parking, so we just Ubered instead. So we left the fair around 11:15 and we walked to a nearby shopping center where the Uber picked us up about 10 minutes late. We ended up leaving at 11:30. We get in the Uber, the man says hello, and we head home the normal way. Everything's fine. And my parents don't like when I Uber, so they were tracking me on Life 360 from the moment I got in the car. After about 10 minutes in, I get a text from my mom, and it said, "Where are you?" I look up from my phone and I realize I have no idea where we are, and Ubers know their directions, they know how to take you home. We were 20 minutes out of the way. So I'm terrified. My mom's texting me nonstop, literally about to call the police. I'm gonna run out of time, but posting part. Okay, back to the Uber story. Our parents are freaking out, we're texting each other in our group chat so he doesn't hear us. Also, while this was all happening, he wasn't talking to us, but he had an earbud in, and he was talking to someone on the phone really quietly. It was super creepy. My mom starts calling me again, and he hears the ring. And one of my friends pulled up on her phone the directions to get home, which he also heard, so he knew that we thought something was off. After a little while longer, we finally know where we are, so we feel a little bit better. We were getting really close to the turn that goes into my friend's neighborhood, and we were thinking, if he doesn't make this turn, we're screwed. Thank goodness he makes a turn and we're back at my friend's house. But the scary thing is what if he was planning something, but since our phones were ringing and we had the GPS up, that he changed his mind? Because we were not going home.
Why you should never friend people you don't know on Roblox. I met this guy on Roblox and his name was Jimmy X Bear. He asked if we could be friends on Roblox and I said sure. I wasn't sus of him until a week later when he'd asked me to join his game. And I said sure. So I joined his game. He started then telling me that I was going to get hacked. and that I should stay off Roblox. I was completely confused. I didn't know what to say, so I just left the game. After a week or so, I went back on because of how scared I was, and I was logged out of my account. And now I didn't know what to do. So I went to go log into my account. After 20 or so tries, I finally got back in. I looked to go in my Roblox chats and saw Jimmy X Bear. You won't believe what he said next. Come back for part 2. Part 2 of what Jimmy X Bear said next. I went to go look in my Roblox chats and I got a chat from Jimmy X Bear. He said, your account is now mine. I was speechless. Right away, I unfriended him and contacted my parents and my friends. None of my friends would believe me, so I said to go on ALT accounts and join his group. I pretended we were a Roblox group of friends and we wanted to be his friend. So for days of playing with him and acting like we liked him, my friend's main account got hacked. Now at this point, I didn't know what to say. I thought it was kind of my fault, so I knew I had to do something. I did next friended him again, and I chatted him back and asked, what are you trying to do to me? Stay tuned for part 3. So part 3 on Jimmy X Bear. He decided to tell me the truth of what he was trying to do. He told me that he was trying to get my family, especially my number. He wanted to come to my house. After he said that, I immediately unfriended him and never played Roblox again. At least for like 2 weeks, because I was terrified. I told my parents the story, and they told me I was not allowed in Roblox. At least for a month or 2. I did get random texts and random calls from this number. All I did was block. And yeah, that's basically it.
I'm gonna tell you guys why I don't keep food in my room anymore. At least why I don't keep this particular food in my room anymore. So when I was a kid, my dad used to leave the country a lot. Every time he would come back, he'd always bring us some sort of goodie. It'd always be like bracelets, t-shirts, and candy. One time after a trip to, I think it was Dominican Republic, brought us back a bunch of lollipops. These are not normal lollipops like you're thinking in your head. These are these giant brown flat lollipops. Now, instead of eating them, me and my sister decided it would be best to hoard them. Yes, that's right, keep them in our room for as long as possible. For what purpose? I don't know. I think it was probably like, no, we can't eat them now. If something happens and we need them. Bruh. It's not every day that we got candy, apparently. So we kept them in our room. We kind of put them on display, up against the wall, right in between both of our beds, in this very room. This time I was about 6? My sister's about a year and a half older than me, so she was like 7, I guess. Now, these lollipops were given to both of us. They were displayed equally distanced between both of our beds, because they belonged to us both. I'm not really sure how this happened. But one night, me and my sister went to bed, but then my sister started tossing and turning. Calls out for my mom. My mom comes and she's like, what's wrong? Oh my god, I'm running. This is part 2 of why I don't keep food in my room anymore. So my mom came into our room. She asked my sister, hey, what's wrong? She was like, oh, my body, I'm itchy. Mom's like, oh, maybe there's a mosquito. My sister's like, no, it's all over. She moves my sister out of the bed. Maybe it's your bed. She looks at her blanket. Oh my gosh, there's ants here. She shakes the blanket. Ants crawl everywhere. Under her pillow, ants. She lifts the mattress. Guys, her bed was infested with ants. Why? There was the faintest trail leading to our lollipops. My mom's like, hey, you get out of the bed. So I got out of bed, they checked my bed, was completely clean. There was one measly ant, literally one, one. My bed had no issues. Sister could not sleep there. So they ended up throwing our lollipops away and we were devastated. And my sister got a lot of unnecessary ant bites and I didn't get any. It's okay, because every time we go outside, I get swarmed with mosquitoes and she doesn't get bit at all.
So here is a story time about how I found what was hidden in my grandmother's attic. So me and my cousins were all having a sleepover at my grandmother's house. And so my grandmother had this chest that was locked up inside her attic and we all knew about it. We knew where the key was but she wouldn't let us go inside the attic. So this one night when my grandmother was sleeping we all had this plan to get the key and go inside the attic and find out what was in that chest. So when our grandmother was sleeping in her bed we snuck in her room and got the key that was in her closet. And since my cousins didn't want to go inside the attic because they were all scared they forced me to go first and open the chest. So when I went in the attic and saw the chest I unlocked it and I opened it and I had saw a skeleton in the chest.
So I am going to be talking about how me and my friends almost got kidnapped. So me and my homies were walking home from school and talking about how mean our history teacher was until we saw this van driving slowly towards us and we were all confused so we started walking a bit faster but the van had caught up to us. And there was this creepy dude inside the van and he kept asking us these weird questions and we felt really uncomfortable. So after a while of us talking to the man in the van I ended up running away as fast as I could and soon my homies started running with me and the van was chasing us and we were out of breath and scared for our lives. But luckily we saw my neighbor and we ran inside the neighbor's house. So my neighbor was really confused, but when we told him what was happening, he was very understanding and made sure we got home safe.